Hey guys, Tepcocyclerepair. Today I'm working on my moto van and I got to pull the starter because the solenoid's clicking and it's got an issue, so I got to pull the starter off. Well, with this 2.4 Tiger Shark engine, they didn't make it easy. It's all the way down there. So down below, you can't even see it here. I'm going to have to pull a couple things out, but down below that pipe right there behind it is the bolt. Now one bolt goes in this way from the driver's side, and then the other one goes on from the passenger side underneath the vehicle. Hang on. Okay, now the other one coming in from the passenger side. Okay, there's your starter, it's right there. Alright, so that's the one. Right at the bottom of the starter, there's your starter. So in order to get that out, you have to wiggle it through here, the starter, after you get it out. So they say, you know, take this plate off and wiggle it out and you can get it out. So, or maybe through here. Some people have said to take this plate out here. This one goes all the way across. But, I mean, we can wiggle the starter out through here. It'll come out somehow, maybe through here. You know, that's just kind of, maybe, not worried about that. The biggest issue is going to be getting that top bolt, because the top bolt, you can't see it from here because it's coming in from the other side. So that's what we got to get. And what I'm seeing is you got to get it up from the top. So let's go dig up there and see the easiest way to get it out. All right, so because it's way down in there, I'm going to get the battery out of the way just so I can get down in there. If I can see the bolt, usually I can get a wrench on it. Some guys are taking this hose off right here. I don't know if I'm going to need that. If I can get down low enough and get in from the side, maybe I can get to it that way. So let's start with just taking the battery out. You got the quick disconnect here, but you got another cable here. So just you're going to take them off right at the terminals and move them out of the way and get this battery clear. All right, so far all I've taken is the battery out and I took the top cover off. So all we're at right now. And I can see the bolt. I mean, it's right down. It's through there. It's just going to be a pain. It's not really a good angle to get an extension or anything through there. It's just too much of an angle. You can't really see it because of the light, but it's down. All right, I took the engine tray out, just 4 bolts, 1, 2, there's one in the back right there, and then another one there. So that's out of the way. Now I'm getting closer. All right, guys, so I was able to get it through here. I'm underneath the coolant lines right here. I'm using a swivel socket with a 15. Now let me show you the swivel socket I'm using because it's important, because I couldn't get it with a snap-on 3/8 inch impact 15 millimeter. It was too long. But this one gave me enough room. So let me show you what it is. All right, so this is a Duralast. This is, I think you can get these at AutoZone. And it's just shorter, and it was able to get me just enough in there to get it. So I'm going to go underneath, get the bottom one out, and then finish taking this one out, and then remove the starter. Just remember with swivels, they can bind up, so make sure you're turning it. If you turn it to a certain point and it gets really stuck, just take it off, rotate it, and clip it back on so you get so you can rotate it. But swivels are a little tricky when you're at severe angles. So we're going to take this heat shield off right here. So this heat shield right here, that's right behind the axle, because the starter's got to come out somewhere, either this side or that side, I'm not sure yet. And this support, right, that comes all the way across from here. We're going to take this off also because it's hard to get my hand up and do stuff, so I'm going to just take that out of the way. All right, see what I'm talking about? With that heat shield out of the way, we got a lot more space right in here. All right, so I got to get that battery terminal there on the left and the plug off on the right. I think I'm going to take the battery terminal off. When I drop the starter a little bit, I'll be able to get that plug out easier. I can't really get to it with my fingers enough to pull it off. And that plastic piece right there is blocking it, so I'm going to have to get special tools in there to get it. Let me see what I got to use. All right, so I was getting that battery wire off, the battery bolt for the wire off with this one, off the starter, but it's not free spinning. It's kind of, you know, I got to go like one click at a time. It's taking me forever. So I'm going to come back up top and I'm going to loosen the top bolt all the way out so that I can pull the starter, maybe I can move it a little bit and get a socket on it. There's really no room in there for the starter to go down that far. I'm a little worried about the actual wire on there, not the battery wire, but the wire from the trigger, from the ignition, I guess. So let's go back up top. All right, so what I have here is I'm using a 1/4 inch. This is a 3/8 inch adapter to 1/4 inch, and then I got 1/4 inch running all the way down there to a snap-on 1/4 inch swivel socket. That's what I'm using now. I'm going to spin it the rest of the way off. All right, so what I did down here is I left that bottom bolt in by like 2 threads just so that it'd be easier and the starter wouldn't fall without me down here. So I'm going to take that bottom one off my hand and get the starter out and hopefully rotate it enough I can get the rest of everything off of it. All right, guys, so that worked. You can see I was able to pull the starter down a little bit and get my regular electric ratchet on there and get that taken care of. So now we got that next nut off there, so we can get the cable off. All right, so then come up top and release the clip right here that holds this cable going down to it. Okay, this is your cable coming from up top because it's holding it and I can't get the cable off, so pop that, give yourself some room. All right, so after fighting that plug off, I'm going to show you how that plug comes off so it's easier for you than it was for me. But here I'm getting it out through, like behind where the axle is, right here. The bracket, those 2 brackets that heat shield, I bent this heat shield down just so I can get the starter and have it came right out of there. So I finally got it out. That was a battle because the battery terminal wouldn't just spin off. I had to sit there and slowly work it. But as soon as if I was to do this again, take these out, pull it, drop it a little bit, get the nut off with a ratchet, and then pull this plug off. And let me show you how this plug comes off. I'm not going to show you here, but I'll be able to show you up top. So on the starter, it's this style plug. So what you do is you take the little red tab, you pull the tab back, and then the plug comes off. All right. So you pull it back, and then by pushing it down a little bit, it releases it. All right. So pull it back, push it down, and it comes right off. All right. I didn't know that, so yeah. Plus my little this tab was broken off, so I had to get a little pick in there to get it, but it's out, thank God. So I'm going to go get it rebuilt. And that fan right there was to keep all the mosquitoes off me, so I was able to do this. It's brutal. I feel like I'm working in Florida or something. So guys, I hope that helps you out. This starter is a straight up pain in the ass to get out, but I was able to do it, and hopefully the way that I show you to do it, it's really not that bad. As soon as you crack that top bolt loose, like what I would do is go underneath it, get the cross member off, get the heat shield off, get the bottom bolt, spin that one all the way out, go up top, get the top bolt with the 3/8 inch short. And let me show you why it needs to be short. So when it's down inside there, this part here needs to be short because you need to get the socket as low as possible to get the right angle for the swivel to work properly. So I'm going underneath this hose right here, so under that hose to the top bolt, which, you know, this top bolt right now is still in there. I didn't take it out. I just left it in there. So I'm going to push it back in and spin it back onto the starter when it comes back to putting it back on. But you want to get a really low angle. So what I'm going to do is, you know, see, so this is the part you want really short right here. All right, so this is, like I said, this is a Duralast. This is what cracked it loose. And then I used the 1/4 inch. All right, then I used this snap-on 1/4 inch on an extension. And then this is to my 3/8 inch power ratchet. But I probably could have broke it loose with this one, just straight. Might have been easier, so you might want to just try that 1/4 inch. But it's kind of tight, but it wasn't super gorilla tight or anything. Right, and then after you get the top one all the way out, spin it all the way out, go back underneath, pull the starter out of its housing, drop it down, get that terminal for the battery cable off with a 13mm on a ratchet, and then pull that little red tab back, pull your plug off, and that should be it. If you do it like that, it shouldn't take you that long. I haven't done this before. This is the first time doing it, so it made it a little bit difficult for me, but hopefully the whole thing is easier for you after watching this video. That's why that nut was hard to get off. Somebody's been in here before. Alright guys, so I got a new starter. Getting the other one rebuilt was my plan, but they can't get the solenoid parts for it, so I had to buy a new one. I've got this one from Napa. This is supposed to be a remanufactured one, but it looks brand new and product of China, so who knows. it looks like it's a new one. Hopefully I don't have any issues with it because I really don't want to do this job again. Alright, so here's the game plan. So what I'm going to do is go underneath the van. I'm going to push the starter up into place, almost up into place. I'm going to run the power cord to it, attach that. I'm going to push it up into the spot where it should be. I'm going to attach the bottom bolt with maybe 2 threads. Then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to have the 1/4 inch swivel with the extension and the power ratchet. And I'm going to slowly spin that while someone else, an assistant, holds that up in place. Or I'll hold it and they'll spin it so it goes in straight. As soon as the threads catch on that, we're going to zip it all the way in so it pulls the starter into place. Go back down underneath, tighten the bottom bolt, plug the wire in, and then reassemble everything up here. That's the plan. Hopefully it should go smooth. And I think really if I do this again, now that I know, running that 1/4 inch snap-on impact swivel with the extension on it right underneath these hoses, I mean, all you got to take out is just the battery tray. So let's do it. Alright guys, so we are back in place. And it was a little tricky getting it past this. The same way the other one came out, it was a little hard getting it back in, so just be patient and work it back in. And then what I did is just kind of held it in place there. I put the top bolt for the power on. Alright, so I got the battery bolt up there. And then I went ahead and put the bottom bolt in. Right there, just a couple threads. Held it level and had someone else turn the top bolt and just kind of slowly spin it with a 1/4 inch ratchet with that extension and the swivel, and slowly turn it until it grabbed the top and have them turn it all the way in. And then I went up there and just did it by hand and got it as tight as I could, and then I tightened the bottom one in. That's the sequence I did it. And then I went and put the plug on the top and we're good to go. So let's go back up top. Alright, and this is what I used right here. And the nut is all the way down, or the bolt is all the way down in there. Slowly turning it and we got it in. Alright, you can see that it barely stays on there. You got to be careful and just kind of hold it, but with the swivel in the right position. Alright, right there, it's on. Alright, so it's a little tricky, but it's definitely doable. Get the battery tray and everything back in. Alright guys, so it's all back together. I don't even have any extra bolts or nothing. Everything went back together. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the key and see if it starts. Alright, let's see. Well, starter's working. Didn't start right up, but there we go. It's been down for a little while, so didn't start up. It's super easy, but it starts. Started working fine. Yep. Woo! Alright guys, so let's recap this bundle of fun starter removal. First off, you got to take the battery tray out. When you get the battery tray out, that's about all you got to take out up top. Next thing you do is you're going to use that 1/4 inch swivel socket. I was using a snap-on. It was a short one, worked perfect. 1/4 inch extension, and then you can use either an adapter to a 3/8 or just use a 1/4 inch with extension. Make sure you need something to break it loose. And I was able to break it loose with the with that. So, oh wait, you should be able to break it loose with that. What I did was I used a 3/4 inch swivel socket, and I broke it loose with that, but I wasn't able to really turn it with that, and I had to use the 1/4 inch, which I'm telling you. So that's what I'm saying. Try to use the 1/4 inch extension, 1/4 inch swivel socket, and try to break it loose with that first. And then when you break that one loose, go down below, break the one on the bottom loose, take the plug off. Remember that red tab that I showed you? Pull that tab back, pull it down, and then pull it out and get that plug out of the way so you can pull the starter down. And then what I would do is take the bottom bolt all the way out, take the top bolt all the way out. When the top bolt is out, try not to... I didn't let the bolt come all the way and fall out of the hole. I left it in there. I unscrewed it. As I was unscrewing it, you pull the starter out, unscrew it all the way, and the starter kind of sits in there. It didn't fall out for me. So then I take the starter, pull it back, and when you're pulling it back, you need as much play on that positive cable coming down. So make sure you take all the clips off for that so you can pull it down enough so you can get a ratchet on that bolt. Take that bolt off, pull that out, pull your starter out. Putting the starter back in, getting it past the axle was a little tricky for some reason. I don't know why. It's the same size starter, but I was able to kind of work it, pop that back in. It has to go in a certain angle. If you're getting frustrated, move it to the left of the driver's side and pop it in the same way. Pay attention to the way you get that out. And then when you get that in, I pulled the cable down as hard as I could, hooked it back on, tightened the cable back on, popped it into place, and then I threaded the bottom bolt on a little bit, pushed the starter in, and I had someone else up top slowly turning with that 1/4 inch extension with the swivel, have them turning that in to the bolt hole. So I'm holding the starter level so it goes in straight, you don't cross thread it. And as soon as he got that going, I had him turn it all the way in, and I was holding it, watching it, making sure all the way into the top. Then I went up top, tightened that one, went down below, tightened that one, popped the plug back in. And remember the cross member I took off the 4 bolts and the heat shield in order to get the starter out and make it easier to get up in there. Put the tray back in and you're done. Really wasn't that bad. It's totally doable without taking all the other stuff off you see in some of the other channels. I got it done and you see it work. So guys, hopefully you like this video. This was a pain, but I think now that I did it, and hopefully now from you guys seeing this video, I can jump in there and do it again and pull that starter out in probably an hour's time. It's really not a big deal now that I figured out the tools that I needed. But it was crazy. I had to figure out just the right swivel because they didn't all work. So guys, do me a favor. Please hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell for further notifications. And until next time, this is Tepcocyclerepair. And to give you an idea of how long it took me to put it back on, it was 1 hour and 47 minutes. And that is until wheels back on and torqued in. So it wasn't that bad.